Hello, welcome to the SAP ERP Sales and Distribution Training for New Users. It's Patrick here again, your SAP ERP consultant. And in this course, I'm going to be introducing you to the SAP ERP Sales and Distribution. This course is necessary for everyone who wants to take the SAP ERP Sales and Distribution training. So let's go right into it. The outline, we'll look at what ERP is all about for those who are getting to know about ERP for the first time, and then we'll see the sales and distribution overview, particularly the OTC business process. OTC stands for order to cash. That's the standard sales process. Of course, there are other processes. Then we'll look at the SAP ERP system landscape for those who are new, SAP ERP system-wide concepts, the SAP ERP document structure, digital transformation with SAP ERP, SAP ERP functional and technical components, SAP ERP sales business process, outbound delivery business process, and billing business process. And then for the section 2, which is practical, we would be looking at navigation. But beyond just the navigation, we would also take the we'll also look at how to create a sales document. I think I need to just make this correction here. Okay, that's good. All right. Now, this training is for those who want to stay ahead of their colleagues. It's for professionals. Professionals are proactive people. The truth is that the work landscape is changing drastically. Okay, organizations are aligning to the digital transformation, and so if you're a professional, right, you are in sales, you are in marketing, and you have not digitalized your skill, you will soon be be inattractive in the market. Imagine looking at your profile and you don't have ERP skill, especially the SAP ERP skill. It looks as if you are outdated. Okay, so this is for professionals who are proactive. Introduction. Now let's look at what is ERP. ERP means enterprise resource planning. Okay, it is a software system that is used by organizations to automate, integrate, optimize their business processes. Okay, this implies that the critical business processes of organizations are automated. All right, so they run on the ERP system. Okay, now there are different solutions that are used to automate business processes. Okay, like for instance, you have standalone software that are used to automate. Automate means that you're no longer using manual process. Okay, so we have several solutions that have also helped to optimize business tasks and activities. But the unique thing about the ERP is that it integrates all your business processes. All right, so they are not standalone. So you can look at this chart. You see several different business processes all integrated in the ERP. So it's an amazing benefit to organizations. All the processes from sales, finance, purchasing, inventory management, warehouse, logistics, manufacturing, production, plant maintenance, quality management, human resources, processes are all automated, integrated, and optimized. So this is the power of the ERP, and it brings so much profit to the organization. Now let's have an overview of the sales and distribution business process within the ERP. Now, the sales and distribution process, we're going to be looking particularly the standard process, which is the order to cash business process. Right now, the SAP ERP sales and distribution is part of the supply chain process and automates the sales order to cash process. SAP ERP SD, or sales and distribution, covers processes like inquiry, sales inquiry, quotation, contract management, sales, outbound deliveries, billing. Okay, so these are the process you can see from the diagram here. So you have pre-sales activities. We're going to look at what the pre-sales activities are much later. You look at the sales and sales order processing, inventory sourcing, payment, billing, shipping. All right, so these are the processes for your sales and distribution. Okay, so you have the sales, you have the billing, sorry, the shipping and delivery, and then you have the billing, and then of course payment is done in finance. Now, this business process we just looked at now is the standard business process in your ERP, whether it is ECC or S4HANA. Okay, so but then what is ECC and what is S4HANA? ECC, which is SAP Enterprise Central Component, it's the software solution or technology that has been used for the past decades. Okay, so but the SAP S4HANA is the new technology that SAP has introduced into the market. All right, so the truth is that if you know how to use ECC, you probably don't need training or maybe little training to use the S4HANA. They have more similarities than their differences. Okay, ECC run on HANA and can run on other third-party database, whereas S4HANA runs only on HANA database. And Fiori, there's a launch pad that has apps. Okay, that is browser based. It is very, very, very efficient with the S4HANA. Why it is limited if you use it for the ECC. Currently, it's about 80% of SAP customers still run on ECC, but then S4HANA is the future. All right, so organizations are beginning to migrate to S4HANA. So now let's look at the SAP ERP system landscape. Now in the SAP system landscape, we have three major systems in the system landscape, or type of systems. All right, so we have the development system, which is usually represented with DEV most times. Then you have the quality assurance system, which is QA or QAS, and then you have the production system, which is PROD. Now, this is very important, and you need to take note because this could be an interview question. Now, the development system is used for customization. It is the SAP consultants that are given access to this is where they customize the business processes. So you have that access for the SAP consultants. Now you have the quality assurance system. Now the quality assurance system, or you call it the QA or QAS, is where you do your testing, you do your integration testing, you do your regression testing, you do your unit testing, integration testing. You also carry out your UAT, user acceptance testing on the quality assurance system. Then apart from that, the training is carried out on the quality assurance system. Okay, sometimes um, the sandbox is used for training. Now, but for business specific training, the quality assurance system is used, especially in a time of implementation. Then you have the production system represented with PRD. The production system is where your live transactions take place. All right, so it is subject to audit. Now, when your customization is done, the processes are customized in the development system. It is those customized processes are transported to the quality assurance system where it is tested and used for training, and then it is transported to the production system where you now use it for real life transactions. Now, so that is all about the SAP ERP system landscape. Now, let's look at the next one, which is the SAP ERP system-wide concept. Now, this gives you an overview of the SAP system. All right, how it is structured, because remember that the ERP is different from your traditional software. For instance, like your Microsoft Word, or your emails and all that. Okay. Now the ERP is used to structure. Is used to structure your organization the way it is being structured in the physical place. All right, it's being structured like that in the virtual space or in virtual environment. All right, using the software. Okay, so first of all is the organizational structures. The organizational structures are just like the name sounds. It could be it could be called organizational structures or enterprise structure. Now they contain several organizational levels. Okay, these organizational levels like plant, company code, client. Like for sales, you have the sales organization, you have the distribution channels, you have the divisions. All right, so these are the organizational levels within the organizational structure for sales and distribution. Okay, now they are used to structure the organization in terms of location, in terms of physical location, in terms of administrative structure. All right, then you have the master records. The master records are used to uh, store, organize, and keep data, all right, for a long period of time. Now the data can be for your customers. Okay, so you can have the customer master record that keeps data of the customers. Okay, the address, terms of payment, the currency for payment, the language, and so many other details of that customer, so that you don't have to, you know, you don't have to type in these things every time, and you have one source of facts. All right, where you one source of information, so it is consistent across all your transactions, and that will reduce time wasting, of course. That will reduce mistakes, and that will reduce inconsistency of information. Then you for you have the customer master records, you have the material master record or product master record for sales, and so many other master record like conditions for price. Okay, so you have several master records that are relevant for sales and distribution. Then you have the transaction. The transactions are the day-to-day tasks that are carried out. All right, when you want to create a sales order, when you want to change an inquiry or a quotation, you want to display a quotation, you want to post goods issue, you want to raise an invoice, all these are transactions. All right, so it's very important that you know what you're doing part time. Now we have different levels of using the SAP ERP system. We have the end users. The end users are more of their tasks are more transactional based. All right, so they are the ones that carry out the day-to-day transactions. Okay, so we trainings. In fact, when you do this training, the next training that you could take, uh, 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 you know, should be more of an end user training, even though this is part of it. Okay, so you have the super user. The super users go beyond just the transactions, but they can also implement certain business rules, manage the data, the master records. Okay, and of course they can train end users and support end users when they have issues with the business process. These are mostly people in the supervisory role, or those who want to have that kind of advantage. Then you have the advanced training, or the consultant training, or you call it the certification training. With that training, you get prepared for the certification exam, and you can take that exam, and yeah, once you pass the exam, you become a certified SAP ERP consultant like me. Okay, so these are the levels of training you can participate in. We provide those trainings. So now let's talk about the document structure. Document structure. First, we look at the document levels. The SAP ERP document structure has two major levels, the header level and the item level. But it's only the SAP ERP sales documents that have three levels. All right. So all the document structures documents have two major levels, the header and the item level. But the sales document have three levels, and it's only the sales document that have three levels in the SAP ERP. Okay, so you have okay, we'll talk about that in one of our slides. We're going to talk about that. Now, note that whatever you apply at the header level applies to the whole document or items. Okay, when you apply anything at the header level, it affects the whole items. So, but if you want to apply, for instance, let me give you an instance. Okay, so a customer wants to buy, say, 20 pieces of laptops, one projector, and one printer, right? And then you decide to give the customer 5% discount for the laptops alone. It's not going to, which means the printer and the projector do not enjoy that 5% discount. Now, if you want to apply that discount, you don't apply it at the header level, because if you apply it at the header level, it will apply to all the items, both the printers, the projector also would have, and that is not what you want to do. Okay, so you apply it at the item level. So, for instance, you have to deliver these items to the customer for say $200, or say 180 euros. Okay, now because that charge applies to the three items, you apply it at the header level. I hope you understand that. All right, you apply it at the header level. Okay, now the third level for the sales, when we're looking at the sales documents, we'll talk about the three levels for the sales document. Now let's talk about the document type. Before I go further, let me show you how the landscape looks like, the system landscape. Now this is um, my SAP logon. Okay, this is my SAP logon. Now here you can see I have development, I have production, I have QA, I have several QA for training. Okay, now this is a QA system, right? Okay, so this is how your ECC looks like. And if I go back and just click this is how your S4HANA looks like. Okay, this is how your S4HANA looks like. So they are almost the same thing, just some graphical interface, and of course there are certain functionalities also, but they are more alike than their differences. Okay, so these are the different systems in the landscape. Okay, so you see that I have to click exit, but in this particular case, look at where the exit is, log off. Okay, now document type. When we are doing the practicals, I'm going to show you where you have the document type. Okay, so each SAP ERP transaction requires a document to execute business process transaction. The document type to be used will determine the type of business transactions that can be executed. Now let's see. Let's even look at document type here. I'm going to be using the ECC. All right, I'm going to be using the ECC. Now you see here, create sales order. Now this is the SAP system. Okay, now you see order type. This is the document type here. Now the document type for the standard sales order is OR. Now these are several document types, all right, for sales, for a sales document. Okay, so now I'm looking for OR. So if I want to create a standard sales order, I'll use OR. I'll use OR. I'm trying to see. Okay. Now, when we say using OR, does not mean it's cast on stone. Just that the SAP default document type for standard sales order is OR. Okay, so but apart from that, I've not really seen. Okay, so but these are different document types here. These are different document types. Now you can see, let me look for DRC. This is for debit memo request. This is consignment returns. So these are different document types. Okay, now if we go to quotations, for instance, so let's see another sales document, quotation. For quotation, it's usually QT, the default. So I can use this to create what I want to create. Okay, so this is how document types are used for your sales transaction. Okay. All right. Now, document types also determine the document number assignment and range, allowed item category. All right, it determines the number, number assignment. Now, for number assignment, there are two types of number assignments. You have the external number assignment and internal number assignment. Now, the external number assignment is when the user will have to manually impute the document number, because every document that you create would have an identification number. Okay, so it's either the user imputes the number manually, that is an external number assignment, or the system would have to generate the number. And if the system generates that generates the number, which means it was customized as internal number assignment. So it depends on the business requirement. If the organization have the requirement for sensitive documents, it's usually internally generated. Then you have the item category. This classifies the line item and controls how the system will process the line items. For example, item category AGN is standard item category for quotation. TAN is for standard item category for sales order, and the system will process these items that way. For instance, you also have item category for text, you have item categories for services, and so on. Okay, so when you say item category, that it categorizes the items on your document, whether sales order, whether quotation. So that is about the document structure. I hope you remember this. Okay, very important to help you. Looking at the digital transformation with SAP ERP, what is digital transformation? DT. Digital transformation is the integration of innovative digital technologies into all areas of business to improve the customer experience and core operations. It's about finding new ways to generate value and promote overall business efficiency. And this is what SAP brings to the table. To build a cognitive enterprise, it's important to upgrade your business landscape. SAP ERP software is used by many organizations as the foundation to advance their digital progression. The ERP is now becoming the major work ecosystem. Alright, so the three streams where SAP ERP accelerates digital transformation is the material flow. Okay, and then so you have the material flow, you have the information flow, and you have the financial flow. Okay, like for instance, when we want to create sales documents, we need to we will need to impute data information. Okay, so it is information flow. We print out that document or we send it via email to, like for instance, a quotation. All right, we're responding to a request for quotation, and then we have to send our quotation. Okay, so the information is sent to the customer, and or the customer also sends us information that we receive. And then you have the material flow. The customer wants to buy a material, a product. A product is a material. Okay, and that is also captured, all the progression for. And so you also have the financial flow. When you make these transactions, the customer is going to pay. All right, so there are monies, or the costs and the revenue are captured. Okay, so these are the three streams of where SAP ERP accelerates your digital transformation. Why learn SAP ERP business processes? The digital shift and alignment. Career requirements in organizations have changed because of the accelerated digital alignment caused by the COVID-19 disruption. More and more organizations now require ERP to power their business process from any location. So people are, you can have people working remotely. Interestingly, but not surprisingly, businesses are reevaluating their work processes in line of this crisis. The urgent need to work digitally is causing them to prioritize digital transformation. This implies that if by now you have not aligned your career with a digital skill, especially ERP, you will soon be unattractive in the work marketplace. I said this earlier on. With the current disruption caused by COVID 19 in the workplace, it has become pertinent for any smart professional to skill up to align with the current digital reality. All right, so currently the demand for ERP solution has increased because of the following reasons: work from home, need for increased business process visibility, cut down on expenditure, innovation. So, if you don't have the ERP skill yet, these are the benefits. You are exposed to the global best practice on enterprise business processes. When you take the SAP ERP training, you become compliant with the current trend in required skill set for today's work environment. It is strategy to become more relevant in your organization if they currently use any ERP solution. You become an indispensable asset to your organization if they currently use SAP ERP. This skill will give you an edge in the labor marketplace and during interviews, because this is the work environment. This is what people are now using. If you have that skill and you go for an interview, you get the edge over others. I mean, this is what is happening with those several people that we have trained over the years. All right, in several countries in the US, we have the online instructor led training. We also have the classroom training. Okay, and this is what has happened. It gives them that advantage, and they've enjoyed all the benefits. But more than that, it gives you that enlightenment. It gives you the leverage to negotiate for good salary. The SAP solution consultant skill is a proof against job insecurity, because you can even work as an independent consultant. Now, these are the two major areas in the SAP ERP domain. You have the technical area and the functional area. So sometimes somebody may say, "Oh, this is IT." No, you have the technical area, which is IT. Under that, you have basis. Basis are system administrators. You have ABAP. ABAP are programmers. Then you have the functional area. The functional area, you have that's where you have the business processes like financial accounting, FI, CEO for control, HCM for human capital management, materials management, sales and distribution, quality management, production planning, and so on. Now let's look at the SAP ERP sales business process. All right, now the SAP ERP sales business process comprises of two types: the pre-sales and sales. I told you earlier on that we're going to look at what the pre-sales entails and sales. All right, so the pre-sales processes are sales inquiry, quotation, and contract. Then the sales process is the sales order. Now, you can see from the diagram here. Now, when you create the inquiry, a customer comes to make inquiry, through a phone call, or maybe an email or whatever. It could be even a trade fair. All right, and so the customer makes inquiry. Now, this is let's use a scenario of a B2B, that's a business to business. Okay, so now you can onboard that customer into your system, or if you have you have a customer relationship management software, you can also use CRM software. You can also use that. Okay, so once you have the customer details on your in your captured in the inquiry, now if the customer comes back to send you a quotation, all right, so the customer inquiry will trigger you to create the sales inquiry. Now, when the customer sends a request for quotation, then you trigger the sales quotation document. You create a sales quotation document. But now, if you have already created a sales inquiry for that customer, all you need to do is to reference the sales inquiry document into the sales quotation, and every data you have there is transferred automatically into the sales quotation. And then you can, of course, you can edit, you can make changes if when necessary. Okay, now from the sales quotation, if you send the quotation and you are given the purchase order, then or your sales quotation or bid is accepted, the companies can go into signing up a contract. All right, so from the quotation you can reference the items and details into the sales contract. Okay, and from the sales contract you can from time to time, when you have a PO, call out from the sales contract. Okay, otherwise you can also from your quotation, once your quotation has been approved, you can reference it into a sales order and create a sales order. So at that point you are now making sales. Okay, now after the sales order, then you can reference the sales order into your outbound delivery document. Now that is under delivery, which we're going to talk next. Okay, so you see also the sales documents are the only documents that have three levels: the header, the item, and the schedule line levels. Okay, so apart from the header and item that I talked about, you have the schedule line levels. Now the schedule line is used to set the delivery schedule for the ordered items. Now there's a whole lot to be done when you are doing schedule. We have two types of schedule. Kind of you have the backward scheduling, and then you have the forward scheduling. Okay, we'll talk about that more. Now you have the second, which is the SAP ERP Outbound Delivery business process. Now this the outbound delivery process is used to coordinate the delivery of ordered items to customers. Okay, so the outbound delivery process comprises of outbound delivery creation, picking, packing. This is within the warehouse or inventory, and then the goods issue. You have to issue it out of your inventory. All right, so that's the process. So from the sales, you create the outbound delivery document, and of course you have the you can do the picking, packing. And when you want to do picking, you would need a transfer order. All right, you need a transfer order document within the warehouse to be able to do your picking. And once you have done your picking and packing, the last action you take is to post the goods issue. And when you post the goods issue, your inventory is impacted, and then of course the value is also impacted in finance. And from there you can go ahead with the billing process. Now the billing process is the last stage of the order to cash business process. Right, so the billing process is used to generate invoice that is sent to the customer for payment. All right, we call them the bill to party. Okay, so you have the bill to party. You actually have the sold to party. You have the ship to party. You have the bill to party, and then you have the payer. Okay, so now um, in the order to cash process, the billing process starts by creating the customer invoice and then posting the invoice to account receivable. All right, where account will now handle the customer's payment. Okay, so once you post into account receivable, it's a point of integration between the sales and distribution module and the accounting or financial accounting module. Another point of well, there are several points, but another point you would note of integration is the goods issue point. Okay, so at the goods issue again, there's integration with finance here, and of course, this is an integration with materials management also. Okay, so these are the processes you have within for the order to cash business process. Now let's quickly go into the navigation area. So this is going to be practical. First is how you log on to the SAP system. All right, I showed you already the SAP system. Now you have the SAP GUI and SAP logon. Now what is the SAP GUI? You can access the SAP system using a front-end program with a variety of designs. Almost all SAP components are, however, accessible using a general front-end program, the SAP Graphical User Interface or SAP GUI. Several variants of the SAP GUI are available. These variants are all graphically equivalent but adapted for use in different environments. All right, and then you have different versions of them. Okay, so this is the 710 to 740. This is how it is designed, and then you have the current versions from 750. All right, so these are done. So the reason I have to show you both, paraventure, if you go to an organization or maybe you're for an interview and they're still using the old version, so this is what you see so that you can recognize them when you see them. Also, the log on, this is the old log on. So this is 710. This is the new look of the logo. Now the SAP GUI program connects the front end computer with the specific system SAP system. All right, to start the SAP GUI, SAP provides another program called the SAP log on. So once you click and select the system you want to log on to, you can see the blue highlights here. So these are the ones selected. So you click on log on. So you see that if you look at the design, the designs may be different, but the functions are the same. So you click here and then you click on log on. You click here and then you click on log on. Some log on is at the bottom here. Okay, so once you click on log on, it will bring you to the SAP GUI. Here you see the client, you see the username and password, and of course the default log on language. Now for the SAP ECC, you see these icons, all right, which we are going to look more into. So this is to enter or to continue. So when you click on this, or you press enter on your keyboard, then after you have imputed your parameters, your login parameters, the system would log you in. Okay, when the system logs you in, what do you see? Let's go to the SAP system and see how that is done. Okay, I'm already signed in. Let me. Okay, so from the icon on your desktop, when you click on it, it will launch your SAP logon. All right, so you select the system you want to log on to. You double click on it, or you click and click on log on. All right, so when you get to the GUI interface, you input your username and password, which I'm just gonna do that. Now take note, when you are inputting your password, those asterisk mark are not going to clear. Okay, so just go ahead and type. It's just a mask to cover your password, and I press enter. All right, and then you come to the SAP Easy Access. Now the SAP Easy Access is the first place you log on to. You need to take note of that. All right, the SAP Easy Access is the first place you log on to. Now that is very important for you to take note of, because this can be an interview question. Okay, if I really want to be sure if you have ever used the SAP system, that you didn't just come based on what you have read, I could ask you this question. All right, so this is the SAP menu. You also have the user menu. The user menu is would only give you the tasks that the user is authorized, all right, to use. Why this is the SAP menu. Now you have the bar here. You can go to my course where I did almost all this was done there. The new user course, you will see me where I explain all this. This is called the menu bar. Okay, these are used for navigation, and then this is standard toolbar. Now these ones will change, but this one does not change. Okay, now this is for you to click to go back. This is to log off from the easy access, but in transactions it becomes to exit, and this is to cancel your transaction. This is to save, and then this is your command field where you use your transaction codes, and of course this is to enter. Okay, so now I'm going to explain more about the transaction codes, or probably let me just go ahead and show you. Now if you observe, you see that I typed in some so these are the modules under logistics. We have 1, 2, 3. These are work areas. These are operational work areas. The 3 operational work areas: logistics, accounting, human resources, whereas others are mainly for administration. Okay, all right. So logistics is the biggest work area, and so we have different modules. These are different modules for logistics. This is the sales and distribution module. Okay, so we go to sales, say quotation. So these are transaction codes. VA21 is to create. Now if I double click here, it brings me create. If I type it here, VA21, it takes me to the same place. So the transaction codes are like shortcuts. Okay, so remember I said this is exit when it's in a transaction, but on the SAP Easy Access, it is log off. So why is this exit here? It is log off here. Okay, now Here is the title bar. So you see it has title. It tells you what you are doing per time. All right, it tells you what you are doing per time. Now look at what happens when I do this. You see it shows you that here is to create quotation. This is the initial screen. Now it's very important because it guides your navigation. You can know when you are on display, when you are on change, and when you are creating. Okay. Then this is the application toolbar. It's like shortcuts of different tasks within that application. So you see these are shortcuts and it changes based on your transaction. Okay, and then at the bottom here you have the status bar. The status bar would prompt you and give you messages based on the status of your transaction. For instance, if there's an error, you see the status bar gives you a message. Now take note that when you have red as your message, the red icon for your message, it means that it's an error. Now you need to fix it before you can proceed. If it is yellow, yellow is caution. It means that you can even continue with the transaction, okay, but it's just cautioning you. Now to move forward, if it's a yellow, you need to press enter again, or you click enter, or you press enter on your keyboard again, and then the transaction will continue. Then of course you have the green. The green is for information. Okay, so those are some of the things that you need to know when you're doing your navigating. Another thing again is to understand these search icon or sign. Okay, now you can see them here. It means that you can search. There's a list. You see, so it means there's a list. Okay, now you have different types of field. They are the fields that don't have, but all these ones shows that there's a list. Okay, so let's look at some of those fields. Let's go to for instance, this is another type of drop down. This is a checkbox, so you can select. Okay, and then you have the ones that are they are just ordinary field, like this ordinary field, so it doesn't have any search, so no there's no list to search here. All right, it's not searchable, it's just a plain field. Okay, so now when you want to do your transactions, there are three basic transactions, okay, that you need to be aware of. You have there are others, but the basic transactions are usually create, change, and display. Now you create when it does not exist. You change when you want to update or modify what has been created, right? And then you display what you have created or what you have changed. Display is read only, you cannot edit it. All right, let's look at how to create sales document. So I'm just going to use the sales quotation document as an example. So this is the quotation. I'll click on create. So here I'm going to impute the quotation document type. Remember we talked about document type. So QT is the standard. I'm going to impute the sales organization. You can also type it in the distribution channel. We can talk more about all these and explain all these in subsequent course, subsequent course. So when I impute this, I press enter, or I click enter, and here I would get a customer number, and then I get a material. For instance, that's a product. Let's say the customer wants to buy 20 pieces of that product. Now, I just want to say something here, that for this to happen, now this is a quotation. Now, what happens before I start to create a quotation? Before I start to create a quotation, the customer would have requested for the quotation. All right, there will be a request for quotation. Okay, so the customer will request for quotation. Now, when the customer requests for quotation, then I would now raise a request for quotation. I'll create a request for quotation that I will send to the customer. Okay, so it means quotation. You're going to also have to okay, yeah, I'm back. Okay, so this is the uh, quantity. Now, quotation would have a validity period. Okay, so it starts from this time. Some will give you 2 weeks, so it means after 2 weeks, whatever price we are giving you will not be binding. Okay, let me use the sales tab. Alright, so you have different tabs. So this is the sales tab. So it gives us a better view, the description of the document. Now, this is the item category I was talking about. Alright, so this is categorizing this item as a standard item. Okay, saying that it's a standard item. Now, if it was a free of charge, if I select this, it will take this as a free of charge item. It will categorize it as a free of charge item, and that is how the system will handle it. Okay, so this is my plant, and I want to come on. Okay, so payment terms. What is the payment terms? Okay, say pay immediately due, or let's use the, okay, let's say pay immediately due. You can use different payment terms anyway. Incoterm, if it's something that you are shipping, so let's use something like free on board. Say free on board. Okay, so you want to also put amount. So per pieces is let's put 100. All right, so it is redetermined. Now remember that I told you that this has 3 levels. So this is the item level, this is the header, All right, so anything you apply at the header, like for instance, if we apply price at the header, go to header and you apply price, go to condition. So any price I apply here, for instance, affects the whole document. Whereas there's another price, another price condition level, which is the item conditions. Okay, so here you if you apply the price here now, it's going to be only for that item. All right, it's going to be only for that item. Okay, so that's okay, so this is your document, your quotation document, and you can. Okay, yeah. Before I save it, just to also show you the schedule line. So this is the item, this is the header, this is the item, and the item overview and item details. Then the schedule line, the third level for sales document. This is the schedule line. All right, this shows that the delivery date, which is today, 5th of September, it shows that the customer wants it on the 5th of September, but we cannot deliver till on the 7th of September. So the system has done a forward scheduling. Okay, these details, you can get these details in the next subsequent training. So I'm gonna go back to so another thing you can look at here, shipping details. You can see the shipping details, the route that has been determined, the shipping points, the plant, the loading date. So all this is already scheduled automatically. All right, so you can actually set up all these things, and it's amazing how it automates your process. Okay, so before you save the document, now here you see that it is blank. Now if I have to manually input uh, numbers here, then I'm doing external number assignment. Now it may be allowed, may not be allowed, okay, depending on how the document is being customized. Okay, so but if I save it without doing that, then the system would generate the number, and that is internal number assignment. Okay, now before you save, it's appropriate if you do an incompletion log to see if the document is complete. So it shows that the document is complete. That means everything that I need to impute has been imputed, so I can go ahead and save this document. All right, so I save the document, and then you see the system has generated a document number. All right, so this document number is what I would use for all my transactions for that document. Okay, so that's what I'll use for all my transactions for the document. So that's the number. Okay, so that is how you create this is a quotation, assuming that we had a request for quotation and you can have several line items. I just used one. You can have several line items. Okay, so this is how you create your sales documents, and this is just the introduction for new users to the sales and distribution process in the SAP ERP. You can contact us for further training, and we can give you, I can guarantee you that you have an impactful encounter with us. All right, we provide online instructor led trainings, live and very interactive, and you have the recorded videos. So we train people from different parts of the world, and then of course we have the classroom training for those who want to join the classroom class. Okay, so thank you for spending your time watching this. I wish you the best and see you at the top.